What's up YouTube? I've been away for a long time, and the reason I've been away is because I've been busy on this damn bathroom. It's the downstairs bathroom, it's the granny flat bathroom, and today's project is to try and render this wall. Now as you can see, the way they built this house, they ran conduit on the outside of the brick, which is kind of annoying because it means everything's sort of exposed and you can't get nice flat surfaces everywhere. I've retiled these tiles. These tiles are made in Italy. There's light electrical wire coming up through the ceiling. We've put it into conduit, we've chased it into the wall, and this light works. All we want to do is actually put some render around this and make it look all very nice and tidy, and that's what we're going to do today. Let's get started. Step 1, mixing the render. Now this stuff is made in Australia, so you know it's good. It's off-white Q render. It can be used on pretty much any surface, brick walls, as long as the brick wall is not painted. So what we're going to do is mix this stuff up. I think it's like 1 to 6, so 1 part water, 6 parts of this particular stuff. So let's get started. Disclaimer, I'm not a professional and I don't know what I'm doing, but what I do know is you don't want this stuff getting in your lungs, so wear a mask. That stuff is bad shit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is lace it slightly with water at the bottom, just a little. We don't have that much, so I'm hoping I don't have to go back to the store. See this dust? That's bad shit, man. Gets into your lungs, creates scar tissue. 10 years, you're wondering why you die. Oh. Get your trowel. I'm going to add a little bit more water to this. I don't actually have one of those drills to mix this, so I'm going to hand mix it, which is kind of annoying. But it's fine. It still works. We're going to need more water. And try get sort of a folding motion. So I'm pretty happy with this mixture now. As you can see, it mostly stays on the trowel, which is good. It's all mixed up. This is cement based, so it's going to be a little bit coarse, but it's kind of smooth like peanut butter at the moment. A little bit less dense than peanut butter. And what we're going to do is use this hawk, this trowel, and we're going to put it onto the wall as quick as possible. It doesn't really matter if it's that straight, we just want to get it onto the wall. So let's get going. Now I'm no expert, I never trained to do this, so this is just my way of doing it. It's probably wrong. I'm going to get some of that onto your hawk, which is not ideal. We're going to sort of roll your wrist to get it on. Okay, and then we're going to go from the bottom. Might not have enough cement in this mixture, but I'm going to keep going. Now I do want to try get some of that in between this little crevice I've got, so that I can try and seal that up level and straight. We'll just massage it in until it's relatively level. We're going to come back and clean everything up. Now in order to do these edges, it's kind of tricky, but what I do is I just sort of stick a lot on my trowel and kind of push it really quickly. It's kind of wet at the moment, so you've got to go pretty fast as soon as you get to that 90 degrees. We're still going to come back and we're going to score everything to make sure everything's level. Then we're going to sand everything with, like, I don't know, a piece of polystyrene, which is all I've got. And as always clean your tools. Forgot to mention, some of you might be wondering what little edging I use. This is just like a plastic edging. It fits on the corner of your brick wall, and you use some of your caulking. This is called maxi nails, no nails. It's bad stuff because if it gets in your hands, it's really difficult to use like meths to get it off, but trying to use gloves when you put this stuff on, it's really awful, but it sticks onto the wall like crazy and puts these little edgings onto your brick wall so you can get your render nice and flush and give you a little bit of an edge line on the sides. So we're going to wait a few more minutes and we're going to try and score this. Technically, you're supposed to take a piece of wood, and I'm going to take a little piece of wood and see if we can get this relatively flat now. And some of the render will come off, which is okay. You want to flatten it out. Everything is level. I don't want to take off a lot of the render. I just want it to be relatively level. This is just my method, but I'm going to also use a piece of polystyrene as a float and just try and massage some of that render in after this. And then I'm going to come back with a sponge, with a little bit of a slightly damp sponge, and try and move the render around just to fill in any gaps. Technically, you're supposed to come render it again with any gaps, but I'm a little lazy. To kind of massage a little bit of this render in with a sponge. This sponge is not clean. I advise you to use a clean sponge, but it's the only one I have at the moment. It's slightly damp. When water mixes with this concrete render, you're going to start seeing a little bit of little concrete coming out of the render mix. So very lightly, remember, light hands, okay? All we're doing is kind of smoothing everything out on the edges. I'm trying not to remove any of the render at this point. You're kind of moving around cement on the wall, getting everything level at the same time and getting a similar texture throughout the render. If ever you get into a little bit of trouble, there's always a little bit of render on the floor. You can take some of it, literally stick it in the edges, because once it gets hard later, that is going to be fine. This part I might need to fill in before I paint, but now comes the fun part, just pulling off the tape and hoping that the render doesn't come off. Just be very gentle, but it should give you a relatively good line over there. Pull off that tape very subtly, and we're going to paint this thing white. So I think technically you're supposed to wait like 7 days before you paint it, but I'll be painting it tomorrow because I don't really believe in all that. So there you have it, a non-professional way to render a wall. Hopefully you got something out of this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, what do you think? And see you again next time.